Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I went away for 3 weeks, and upon arriving home, I had, how do I show it? A gigantic stack of mail. More mail than, it seemed crazy. And I started going through the mail, and for some reason, a neighbor, and not a next door neighbor, a neighbor kind of far away, I don't know who it is. All their mail was delivered to my house while I was gone, like tons of it. So I'm going to go return it, go drop it off at their house. I would put it out for the post office worker to take, but last time I did that, because I get wrong delivery a lot, they just shoved it back in my mail slot. So I don't know. I'll just take a walk and drop it off, I guess. But a magazine that was addressed to them arrived. And I'm not familiar at all with this magazine, but I thought it might be fun to just look through it. I went on to the League of Women Voters website to look up the bias of this magazine, and it is a left skewed magazine. It's not all the way, but it skews that way. So if that will make your ears bleed, just don't go listen to something else. One time I posted that media bias chart, or a media bias chart, and some people got very angry with me for posting and saying how stupid it was and everything and how wrong it was. And I actually deleted that post because I really wasn't totally sure how accurate that. I hadn't researched it. But I use it all the time, so I don't know. Part of me wants to post it again just because I think it's useful. It's good to know what you're looking at, whether it has a left or right bias. But this one, I can tell by this picture on the front that it's probably left. So like I said, if politics or a left-leaning looking at that is going to make you feel uncomfortable, just go watch. I did a video just 2 days ago with this magazine, which doesn't have any politics in it, and also I did one with a crossword, and I have some 1950s magazines, so there's a lot of magazine content. But I just thought we could look at this just for fun. So it says, Crisis over detainee in El Salvador, bringing back the dire wolf. I've been hearing about this. This magazine's probably old because it could be 3 weeks ago. A voice of liberalism in Peru. Ultimate trade war. Will Trump's tariffs hurt the U.S. more than China? Who's that? Tracy Chapman. Trump defies courts over migrant deportation. What happened? A potential constitutional crisis loomed this week as a federal judge accused the Trump administration of ignoring a Supreme Court order to pursue the release of an asylum seeker from a notoriously brutal El Salvador mega prison. In a unanimous ruling, the nation's highest court largely affirmed U.S. District Judge Paula Sinis's order that it must facilitate El Salvador's return of Kilmar Aparicio Garcia, a 29-year-old Maryland father of 3, sheet metal worker and university student who was detained and deported without a hearing. Chief Justice John Roberts, however, gave Trump some wiggle room, saying that Sinis must defer to Trump's authority in foreign affairs and could not dictate his dealings with El Salvador. In a response, Attorney General Pam Bondi said facilitate meant only the U.S. would provide a plane if El Salvador chose to return him. After the Supreme Court's ruling, Zinnes scolded the White House for that interpretation, saying nothing has been done to bring Aparicio Garcia back, and ordered a period of intense discovery in which administration officials would have to testify about their efforts to comply with the order. There will be no tolerance for gamesmanship, she warned. This actually is really disturbing to me. I mean, this man did nothing wrong. He was following all the rules. And they've sent him off here, and I'm afraid he's just going to be forgotten about. And he's a father. I just think that's kind of wild. Trade war with China threatens. This isn't what the U.S. is about. You know what I mean? I think this isn't what our country is supposed to be. And I'm in backpacker forums on Reddit, and I've been reading about, backpackers being sent away from the U.S. and held in prison overnight because they don't have solid plans, because backpackers tend to, camp in different places. So they told them they were coming here to work and wouldn't let them in. Things like, that bothers me. Trade war with China threatens U.S. economy. It wasn't all bad. What is this about? A tortoise? The staff at this has nothing to do with this, but the staff at Haverhill, Mass. McDonald's were skeptical when a stranger left a wad of several $1,000s to pay for everyone's food until the money ran out. But the money paid for 356 meals after police confirmed that the cash wasn't counterfeit. We have customers regularly offer to pay for the car behind them, but that's just one order. We hope everyone who got a meal for free today passes that good feeling of carrying forward. Mommy of roughly 100-year-old Galapagos tortoise became an actual mother for the first time when she had 4 hatchlings at the Philadelphia Zoo over a few days in February and March. I read that wrong. Mommy, a roughly 100-year-old. Okay. The brood of tennis ball-sized babies comes from 16 eggs that Mommy laid in November. All are female, and they will remain at the zoo for at least 5 years. Mommy herself has lived at the zoo since 1932. Wow. Each spring, Pat DeReamer, 95, and Mary Kroger, 94, exchange the same birthday card featuring a giant dinosaur skeleton. For each birthday, they write the year and sign their name, and they've maintained this tradition since 1944. Wow. That's retribution. Trump calls for prosecution of critics. Only in America, a 6th grade teacher in Idaho was ordered to remove a classroom poster saying, "Everyone is welcome here." Sarah Inama said administrators told her that the poster's depiction of hands with varying skin tones was a political opinion that violated President Trump's ban on equity ideology in schools. Inama briefly took the poster down, but then put it back up. "You either believe everyone is welcome here, or you don't," she said. Flight attendants, hold on. There's a Cooper hair on my microphone, and it keeps tickling my nose. Hold on. I can't. Sorry, I can't get it. It's like I need a little piece of tape or something. Flight attendants for a charter airline taking deported immigrants to El Salvador are wondering how to handle an emergency when their passengers are in shackles. The attendants have been told not to talk or to touch the deportees. If the plane has to be evacuated, said Lala, an attendant for Global Crossing Airlines, I don't know what we would do, she said. She said attendants were told when they were hired that passengers would be elites and celebrities. Good week for redesigning the pearly gates. After the Vatican put God's architect, the modernist master Antoni Gaudi, on the path to sainthood. Good week for togetherness. After 3 female elephants at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park quickly formed a protective alert circle to protect 2 calves as the ground shook from a magnitude 5.2 earthquake. I saw that video. Good week for try again. After Rory McIlroy, I can't tell if that's an L or an I, finally won the Masters to give him the last of the 4 major in golf's Grand Slam. Bad week for security. After a whistleblower told Congress and CNN that DOJ staffers secretly used Starlink to export vast amounts of sensitive worker, union, and employer data from the records of the National Labor Relations Board. Russian hackers then logged in to the NLRB's computers using the right passwords, the whistleblower said. Bad week for air passengers. Why? I don't know. After United Airlines said it had begun reducing the number of daily flights because the softer economic situation is creating softer demand for travel. Yeah, my son was about to fly to Vancouver, and they canceled all the flights to Vancouver, so now he has to fly to Seattle and drive, which is crazy. Credibility. After President Trump's doctor reported that he's 6'3" and weighs 224 pounds and is in excellent health due to his active lifestyle. That makes Trump an inch taller and 16 pounds lighter than when he was booked in Manhattan in 2023 on 34 felony counts. Sometimes they don't make you take your shoes off. I guess when they measure you, or sometimes they just ask how tall you are. I feel like anymore, a lot of doctors say, do you want to weigh? Because people don't always want to. But I think it's probably good for them to know in case they have to give you a prescription. They need to know. In Waukesha, as I said, Wisconsin assassination plot, Jenna, Louisiana activist detention, Cambridge, Mass. School fight, Harrisburg, PA Passover arson. Oh, that was when they tried to burn the governor's home. Is that home fire? Yeah. Augusta, Maine trans athletes. Washington, D.C. IRS exodus. I better be careful with the magazine because it's not mine. The World at a Glance. Scunthorpe, UK steel takeover. London, what is a woman? The legal definition of a woman. Budapest, 2 sexes only. I feel like all this gender stuff is so out of proportion to what it is. It feels to me like why is this so? I don't really get it. I don't get why it matters to people so much. It must be religious or something. I don't know, because like in my mind I'm like, I don't care. I just don't get why people care. I don't know. Ecuador. And as far as the athletes go, what are we talking about? Like, how many, like, is it even 1% of athletes? Probably not even that. Like, they make such a deal out of it. I feel like, you know what it reminds me of? Back in the 80s and stuff, when they did satanic panics, and they were like, all the kids playing video games or listening to Iron Maiden are like Satan worshippers, because they found like maybe possibly one Satan worshiper. And it was like, everybody's a Satan worshiper. That's what this feels like, a panic thing. Like they're turning something into a like they're turning kids gay. It just feels weird and panicky. I don't know. I just don't know. Brussels, U.S. not safe. What? The EU's executive body has started issuing staffers burner phones when they travel to the United States. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Brasilia. Trump is good for Brazil. Brazilian beef and crop exports are booming thanks to President Trump's trade war with China. Okay, Sumy, Ukraine. Bombing churchgoers. Russian strikes killed 34 people this week in northeastern Ukraine, 18 miles from the Russian border. El Fashir, Sudan. Darfur slaughter. Oh, that's going to be sad. Survivors described a horrific atrocity in Darfur this week as paramilitaries from Rapid Support Forces attacked Zamzam refugee camp. Oh my God. Harbin, China. U.S. accused of cyber attack. Hong Kong. Opposition gives up. Hong Kong's Democratic Party voted this week to dissolve itself. Najaf, Iraq, choked with sand. Ooh, look at that sandstorm. Rafah, Gaza, civilians suffer without aid. Sorry, hold on. A UN relief agency said this week the humanitarian situation in Gaza is the worst it's been in 18 months, causing mass civilian casualties, including a strike on hospitals that Israel said was being used as a Hamas command center. The zoo life of a monkey. Mickey Dolenz almost got trampled by pop stardom. The monkey's last surviving member, now 80, was barely out of his teens when he answered a 1965 casting call for the TV show seeking singers for acting roles. Tom Hanks' deprived daughter. Having a famous father didn't spare E.A. Hanks from hardship. Elizabeth Ann Hanks spent much of her childhood with her mother after her parents' 1985 divorce. That meant growing up in a home with a mentally ill woman who abused drugs and alcohol. Chapman's grounding and resistance. She looks great. Pop star Katy Perry headlined an all-female space flight on Blue Origin. Actor Mickey Rourke, who garnered critical acclaim for his starring role in 2008's The Wrestler, that was good, was booted last week from the reality show Celebrity Big Brother UK. Oh my God. Rosie O'Donnell says she's formed a close bond with Lyle Menendez. China Shock 2.0. An overflow of Chinese goods is flooding the global market. Tariffs won't stop it. I heard their electric vehicles are surpass the U.S. electric vehicles. Have you guys read that? Is that true? I don't know. My son told me that. Why has China ramped up its exports? Has this happened before? Which countries will be affected? How are those countries preparing? Could China's domestic market be an outlet? Will tariffs really shield the U.S.? Why don't China's consumers buy more? Let's see. Will tariff shield the U.S.? Offshore. Factories. I don't know. The tariff thing. Trump's peace plan is, what is this? Best columns in the U.S.? Oh, they're different. The GOP's latest attempt to limit voting, reviving a nuclear deal with Iran. Trump's peace plan is dead. It must be true. I read it in the tabloids. Israel can't bomb its way to acceptance. Lurching the wrong way on gay rights. How they see us seeking a new Iran nuclear deal. United Kingdom. Rats rule Birmingham as trash piles up. No room to pass on the sidewalks. Uh-oh. What's going on? Can a doctor cure Valsic's political ills? That's in Serbia. Pretending to be a Nazi isn't funny in Cyprus. Agree. Corruption, the road to crony capitalism. Budget, gutting Medicaid to pass tax cuts? Question mark. What is this? Noted. Researchers using cadavers to study the accumulation of microplastics found on average 7 grams of plastic per brain, about the amount in 5 water bottle caps. It's crazy. Brain samples from 2024 had nearly 50% more microplastics than samples from 2016. What? I've been really trying to cut down on plastics in my kitchen, but I don't know. Federal spending has gone up even as DOGE slashes jobs and contracts. The government has spent $154 billion more since the inauguration than President Biden's administration, spent over the same period, in part due to higher Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid payments and higher costs to service the debt. The Department of the Navy has culled 381 books from the Naval Academy Library, including works covering the Holocaust, feminism, civil rights, and racism. Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings and Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility were removed. The bell curve, which argues that intelligence is linked to race, was not. I think the idea that men who are old enough and trusted enough to be in the Naval Academy can't read books and have ideas, they need to have that blocked from them, is absurd and sad, honestly. There's nothing. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is going to have to be behind the paywall, I think. But the idea of trying to keep people uneducated or just uneducated, I don't even know how else to say it. It's, if you can't see things and take them in and decide, I don't even know. I hate banning books, man. That's messed up. All right. I think they also banned To Kill a Mockingbird from this. I really want to get these books and look at them, but I don't even know if I could get all 381. So if anybody has an idea, like, what could I do? Because I feel like we need to look at what we're banning and why. Like, what is happening? I mean, but they left the bell curve, which argues that intelligence is linked to race. What? President Trump has set a goal of 1 million deportations this year, which would vastly exceed the single-year record of over 400,000 set by President Obama. So far, the administration is lagging behind even the Biden administration's pace. I just heard that the other day. I thought that was kind of an interesting... It's like they're going about it so kind of haphazardly that it's actually lagging behind when they did it by a system, which is interesting. And I remember a super liberal, Padma Lakshmi, who is on Top Chef. She was so mad at Biden for the deportations. She like posted a whole thing on Instagram about it. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I don't even know. Biden deported a lot of people, and more than Trump has. But did it, by the means that were set up by the government. So Trump's is getting more press because he's deporting 2-year-olds and like this guy who's innocent. It's all crazy. It's all crazy. Anyway, to meet the goal, officials will seek to deport to third countries such as El Salvador. Some of the 1.4 million immigrants who are already slated for removal but can't be sent to their home countries. They'll just send them to a random country. RFK Jr., boy, this is liberal. A public health wrecking ball. During his confirmation hearings, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. presented himself as a supporter of vaccines. But his actions as health secretary tell a starkly different story. Although I did see when he actually talked about or posted about the measles, he did say the number one defense is the MMR vaccine, and then went on to say, but we should push vitamin A and stuff, which you can overdose on, so be careful, especially with children. So I don't know. I mean, the measles used to be, nobody got the measles. It was basically wiped out. But as vaccine hesitancy has become more and more, things like the measles are making a comeback. They're bringing measles back. Just, if you have, never mind. I'm not gonna. Okay. What? Me worry? Oh God, what's that guy's name from Mad Magazine? Shoot, I can't think of his name. He's got the measles. Yep. So they're all hammering. I don't know. Sometimes political cartoons are over my head. Oh, well, that one's not. Anyway, okay. Climate tech can geoengineering cool the globe. Reflective particles could block sunlight. It's crazy the things that, science, if we have it. Innovation of the week, a new drone delivery service is actually 2 drones in one. What? I feel like I've been hearing about this forever. Don't you guys remember like 10 years ago they said Amazon would be delivering everything by drone? Bytes, what's new in tech? The great iPhone airlift. Apple airlifted roughly 600 tons of iPhones out of India amid uncertainty over tariffs. The tech giant chartered 6 cargo flights with capacity of 100 tons each, transporting roughly 1.5 million iPhones to the United States since March. Wow. Doge lays off auto regulators. Elon Musk's Doge team laid off regulators who oversee Tesla self-driving technology, said Stephen Morris of Financial Times. Of the roughly 30 National Highway Traffic Safety Administration workers dismissed as part of Musk's campaign to shrink the federal workforce, many were in the Office of Vehicle Automation Safety. Musk has staked the future of Tesla on its ability to develop self-driving cars, but the NHTSA has 8 active investigations into the company's autopilot feature. Musk has promised that Tesla will launch a driverless ride-hauling service in Austin by June, but the layoff may have it harder for the agency. You know, in Arizona and Phoenix, they've for years had what's it called? Starts with a W. I can't remember, but that's self-driving, right? Haven't they had that for like years now? I don't know. Emergency response by Amazon. Amazon is experimenting with turning some of its delivery drivers into first responders. Really? The company is planning to equip some of its ubiquitous delivery vans in Europe with AEDs, automated external defibrillators, to speed up aid to heart attack victims. Wow. Bringing back the dire wolf, sort of. A biotech firm says it has de-extincted a species of huge wolf that died out 12,000 years ago, which is also trying to bring back to life the dodo and the woolly mammoth. My understanding is it's more dog than wolf, but let's see what they say. By combining through DNA taken from dire wolf remains to identify the 14 genes that gave this species its distinctive size and fearsome appearance. Then they made 20 edits to the corresponding gene in a gray wolf, cloned the cells to create embryos, and implanted the embryos implanted the embryos in domestic dogs to act as surrogate mothers. That's pretty wild. The 3 pups, ranging in age from 3 to 6 months, are now living on a secret 2,000-acre facility somewhere in the northern U.S. What? Where are they? I want to bet them. Many scientists, though, are opposed to such de-extinction efforts, saying such research diverts crucial funds from traditional conservation and doesn't even achieve its goal. I can see that. But can we do both? These 3 pups, they say, aren't dire wolves at all. They're just gray wolves that look sort of like their extinct cousin. Would a chimpanzee with 20 gene edits be human? I don't know. Would it? These individuals seem optimistically 1/100,000th dire wolf. Interesting. I don't know. Don't know about that one. It's kind of wild. A woolly mammoth would be pretty cool. It's like Jurassic Park, only not Jurassic. How to fix a tiny heart. The pacemaker that dissolves. Wow. A shot to cut dementia risk. Hold on. That interests me. The shingles vaccine appears to reduce your risk of getting dementia. I got all my shingles vaccines, so that's good. A large new study has found that those who received the vaccine were up to 20% less likely to develop dementia than those who didn't. Researchers looked at health data from 280,000 older adults in Wales, where the Zostavax shingles vaccine was first given in 2013 to people born on September 2nd, 1933 or later. The natural experiment allowed scientists to compare dementia rates among those a few months older than the cutoff age who didn't get the vaccine and those a few months younger who did. The drop in dementia rates among the vaccinated group was significant, particularly among women. Okay. Doctors aren't sure why the shot offers this protection, but it may be because it reduces inflammation in the nervous system, or because it triggers broader changes in the immune system. And it's not just the Zostavax that has this effect. Researchers at the University of Oxford last year reported an even stronger drop in dementia rates among patients who received Shingrix. That's what I got. A newer shingle shot. If this truly is a causal effect, co-author Pascal Geldsetzer from Stanford says, we have a finding that's of tremendous importance. Well, I hope they're right. Books of seal skin. Watch out for strep. Yeah, strep can be so bad. Oh my gosh. It can cause complications like flesh-eating disease or streptococcal toxic shock syndrome, which can quickly lead to organ failure. Yeah, yikes. Yikes. Review of books. The Thinking Machine, Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, and the World's Most Coveted Microchip. Novel of the Week, Audition, by Katie Kitamura. Who is the Government? The Untold Story of Public Service. Best books chosen by Susan Page. Harriet Tubman, The Road to Freedom. John Lewis, A Life. Nightingale's Song. Personal History. Janice, Her Life and Music. I might like that one. Patriot, a memoir by Alexei Navalny. There's a documentary about him that's really interesting. Also of interest in Fluid States, There Is No Place for Us. Woodworking, The Social Genome, The Secret Public. Review of Reviews, Art and Music. Ruth Osawa, a retrospective at San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. Bon Iver has a new album, 3 stars. Valerie June, 3 stars. The Water Boys, 3 stars. Life, Death, and Dennis Hopper. I've never heard of those two. This is the movie I want to see. Review of Reviews. Sinners, they gave it 3 stars. I don't almost want to read about it because I don't know that much. Like now I'm just seeing it's vampires. Learn something. The King of Kings, 2 stars. Smash, 2 stars. Broadway version. Oh, this is a Broadway version of that TV show, Smash. I don't know. The Week's Guide to What's Worth Watching. Race for the Crown, a 6-part series from the makers of Formula One, Drive to Survive. I do kind of like these kind of shows. Eat Toil, the creators of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel leap from stand-up comedy to world-class ballet in this promising new series. I got burnt out on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. By the last few seasons, I felt like they were all yelling at each other all the time. I didn't even watch the last season. And I sold them a lot of product. A lot of vintage. You, Goodbye to You. Havoc. Tom Hardy is bringing his tough guy Bonafides to a bloody new feature-length action thriller. My Happy Place. I don't know. Other highlights. Simon Schama, The Holocaust, 80 Years On. Oh, boy. British historian travels around Europe to re-examine the origins of the Holocaust and how its atrocities, can't think of the word, were allowed to occur. I bet that'll be good. That's on PBS. A Tragedy Foretold, Flight 3054. Bullet Train Explosion. Oh, my God. The Joy of Cooking shows Chef's Table Legends. Yes, Chef. I think that's a new one. 24 and 24, Last Chef Standing. Garnasha's glorious street food. Moramoto's sushi master. I watched there was like I feel like it was a show about like 5-star Michelin restaurants, and it was on there or something like that. I can't remember. Barbecue High. Lingcod ceviche, a bracing blast of spice and sea. I think this looks like my rose chintz plate. I think it might be. I have that plate. Tastemaster's favorites, America's best restaurants. Burdell. Does it tell you? Oakland. Canlis in Seattle. The Musket Room in New York. I think it's where it is. Lowland in Charleston, South Carolina. Emerald's, New Orleans. I went to one of Emerald's restaurants in Las Vegas, and this was years ago in the 90s when he was very popular. And I would say it was mid, and the portions were so small that my dad and I were in the elevator after going to our room, and we're like, should we go somewhere and get a hamburger? Because we're still hungry. Oops, sorry, that was loud. This week's dream, the modern pulse of historic Vienna. Hotel of the week, Necujai in Costa Rica. Yes, please. I want to go there. In Cuencas, Costa Rica. Getting the flavor of Death Valley's surprising neighbors. The Go-Go Groove of DC. Best properties on the market. Okay. Pescadero, California. I'm never that thrilled with lofts. They look cool, but in reality, it's like if you're up here and people are down here talking or watching TV, you can't sleep or get work done. It's like only works if you live by yourself. This house is a steal at $7,980,000. Kingston, New York, in the heart of Hudson Valley farmland. You can have this house with a pool for $4,399,000. Florence, Montana. Look at that view of the mountains. Okay, that's pretty stunning. Wow. Built in 2021, Scandinavian modern home for $1,599,000. Comparatively, that's a steal. What the heck is this word? Oconomowoc. Must be a Native American. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Located in crop-rich area with popular farmers markets. You can have this house with I like the light-colored wood ceiling. That's pretty. $3,495,000. Corneth, Vermont. A renovated 1812 farmstead. Ooh, I would like that. $1,679,000. Look at all that wood in there. I think it has I can't tell. I guess I thought it was a brick floor, but maybe it's wood. If it had a brick floor and a wood ceiling, that would be really pretty. Here's the steal of the week. Okay. Blue Ridge, Georgia. Close to vineyards and the largest orchard in the South, Treetop Getaway, is a 1990 two-bedroom modern rustic lodge on Cherry Lodge Mountain. $475,000. It's a steal. What a steal. All right, what else? The news at a glance. Antitrust. Meta defends Instagram purchase. Wall Street. Trading desks prosper in market turmoil. Yeah, I bet. There are a lot of people making a lot of money off the market. And it's not me. AI. NVIDIA faces new limit on chips meant for China. Climate. Maritime Group agrees to greenhouse gas tax. Personal stake. New Intel CEO has deep China ties. Oh, bottom line, total U.S. home equity has climbed nearly 80% since early 2020. Okay, Apple shipped 57.9 million iPhones from the beginning of January through March, a 10% rise. Retail sales jumped 1.4% in March, the biggest monthly increase in 2 years. I admit that I bought some things that I kind of needed because I knew the tariffs would be coming. So I bought a new dryer, and I forget, but some other things because I was a little worried about it. I should have bought a new air conditioner because I think mine's not working right, and that was stupid to not have already bought that. Last year, Indians were the world's biggest buyer of gold jewelry. LVMH lost its spot as the world's most valuable luxury firm to rival Hermes after an unexpected decline in first quarter sales. Louis Vuitton is how an LVMH is. I don't even know. Goldman Sachs estimated that in the worst case scenario, a pullback in foreign tourism and boycotting of American products could cost the U.S. $90 billion. Holy smokes. But that's 0.3% of our gross domestic product. It's so much money we're talking about all over the place. It's like money. Safe havens, tariff wars shake treasury market. What experts say the myth of the flighty millennial. Young workers are millennials young anymore? They're old, aren't they? Young workers are no more prone to job hopping than their parents were. Okay. That's kind of interesting because I do feel like my sons are all like, yeah, I'll work here for a couple years and then work somewhere else. Which doesn't surprise me because I'm like that, but I feel like it used to be you'd get a job and stay there forever, but I guess not, maybe not. Zillow fights shadow listings. What's that? I don't even. Zillow is banning homes that were initially listed off market from appearing on its home search platform. Such pocket listings marketed first through Instagram broker's private list or on a single brokerage website have become increasingly common in some markets. Okay. When FDIC insured accounts aren't. I keep forgetting I don't want to bend this. Decoupling the U.S.-China trade divorce. No, America doesn't need little screws. Okay, don't know. Neoliberalism is ready for its comeback. The novelists who lectured Latin America. These are obituaries. This is Mario Vargas Llosa. The producer, who was a master of live events, Don Mischer. The actress who showed us the inner lives of servants, Jean Marsh. Oh yeah, she was on Upstairs, Downstairs. Building a 1,000-year-old tree. Gnarled ancient trunks are an essential and magical part of old forest habitats. Now arborists are recreating their properties in younger trees. Okay. Oh, I can't do it. Blank, something I said, was it? Dough made into tortillas. Masa. Where a coin goes in Vegas. Into the slot machine. Where a coin goes in Vegas. 10 across. Slot.